done for me lately? It's Coons. What have y'all done for us lately? And if there's no answer, the only thing we owe them.
Let's talk to tonight. It's Tuesday night. Weren't with you guys last week. A lot going on, weather-wise, holidays. Those who celebrate Thanksgiving. So it was a lot going on. But we're here tonight with Sister Azima, Tuesday night. I probably will go off script tonight. Because she sent me some bad weather. He informed me about the weather, and I got it.
Oh yeah.
Sister, I called you yesterday to check on you, and you sounded like they were holding you hostage.
I was without power temporarily. so, but it was just temporarily. It was just a couple of hours, and that was it.
It seems like because I literally, as you know, I work in bad weather with restoration of pain. One of the things that I do, and I always find it interesting how the way that the power grids are, back as I would say back in the day when people lost power, it didn't seem as it was that serious. We're able to be more resourceful 30, 40 years ago if you lost power. Nowadays, so many things are hooked up to our electric grid for us, oxygen, cell phones, so forth and so on. That literally, when you lose power, you lose all connection to the outside.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of reasons for that. The biggest reason is that we used to have 20 power companies. I think we're down to just 5 or 6, and they sell their power across multiple states. So they're going to pull power from areas that don't need it right now. So if you're in an urban area and your downtown is not one that's built and designed for a lot of hustle and bustle, then they can pull, everything off of there. And with that, once they pull all of that off of there, then it impacts what's going on. My computer is acting a little suspect, right?
Yeah, well, they definitely do that, and then they, it's funny because you would think that they determine on restoration of power off basic who needs their power on as needed. You would think like senior buildings, nursing homes, hospitals. Most hospitals don't go out of power because they have them backup generators that work pretty well. But a lot of nursing homes, even with those, like their power grid, they have a lot of safe proofs in there that's built in. Most of their power is underground. I know in Pennsylvania it's underground. New Jersey is underground for those specific facilities. So it is always a very interesting thing, and we'll probably be working late tomorrow because of example that we got, so many people live in real urban country areas, and they may have a power line that may run through, and there might just be 60 people on that. And if all it takes is a tree branch to get on that one line, and it trips.
Hmm.
Anyway, how's everything besides
Oh,
that?
I'm fine. Everything is okay. Everything's okay.
So I know we had discussed frequencies and understanding, what frequency, we should be on, and how you can tell when somebody that you're around when they're on a different frequency. As some people say, like I get bad vibes with this person,
Mm-hmm.
and we had discussed that, and I know that's something that's dear to you because to understand that everything is a frequency. To listen to the tones, even when someone's talking to you, they're talking with words, but tones, but through frequency.
Well, there's nothing in the universe that is not vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates. It's like a pendulum, it's swinging back and forth, up and down. It's going to vibrate. And I think what happens is that because we're living our life and we see our life in 3 dimension, we really don't realize that we're just vibrating, and we become a vibrational frequency the more often, because frequency means the amount of times you're vibrating. So I think a better example of that is that your monitor, whether it's your television or your computer monitor, there is a little tiny light like this, about the size of a pencil head. And it is scrolling across your monitor back and forth all the time. But it is moving so fast. That's the frequency. But the vibration is that it's taking each pixel that we see here, and it's putting that pixel, that little tiny dot, but because it's moving back and forth so fast, it looks like your whole screen. But if our eyes could blink as fast as that strobe is, we would see that half of this is blank and the other half would have an image. So
Yeah.
that's what's happening. You are vibrating at a frequency. How did you get that frequency? It's in your name, the letters in your name. It's in your birth chart, okay? And it's your birth date. All of those are mathematical equations, and they're giving you your frequency or your vibration. And as long as it's vibrating like that, as you mature, your vibrations get higher or they become faster. That's the frequency. And in that frequency, we can determine whether that's a calm person, a kind person, an arrogant person, an ignorant person. All of that is their frequency, their vibration, and how fast it's fluctuating within their body. And we feel that off of people. Okay. And so that's why I always talk about that, because you are a vibration. And it just so happens that your vibration is moving at such a frequency that it creates what we call somatic energy, which creates form. It creates atoms and mass and all that. And then we take this 3 dimensional form. So I wanted to talk about sigils. Sigils are really, um, you know what a totem is? These are sigils. Sigils act like your totem. A totem or a flag is a way of identifying the family or the individual that's in control of a lot of land or a house or whatever. And it lets other people know who
Excuse
you
me.
are, what you are about. And so we can draw our own sigils. They're not hard to do. Um, I will, if we do another class, I will show you how to do it. But the whole purpose of the sigil is that you are giving yourself permission to protect yourself, or you give yourself permission to protect your family. Okay. And like I tell my daughters, is that when people see families, the families represent one type of energy. One of these dots can represent a family, the type of energy that's in that family. So when people join together, remember you're bringing the history of the person that you are pairing with or marrying, and you're bringing your history, your family history with that. And then you all create this third energy, and that becomes your totem or your sigil that people see. Now, the purpose of making it into an actual form is that it allows you to see it like you see a logo, like you see G for Google. You know, that's Google. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you see, Kanye West stuff, you look at his logo. Oh, but that logo is really his sigil. So logos are sigils, so you can automatically identify what you're looking at. And what does that do? That makes your mind go like, oh, I like that product. Oh, I don't like that product. Oh, it's okay. I haven't tried it a lot, but and it you begin to identify that. So when you would hear, as they say in old ancient times, people would have sigils. It's so that others who would come into their plane of existence, they could understand those are some McCoys over there, Hatfields. You can't you can't deal with them. That's the mob over there. You can't deal with them. You automatically know the energy of that family, okay, and how that family dominates. When you create your own sigil, you are allowing family members and yourself to recognize who you are in your sigil, and you can wear it on you as jewelry. Okay, you can wear it on you as a tattoo or an inking or the henna type of thing. And every time you look at it, it brings you recognition to who you are in your family. So that's the whole purpose of the sigil, is to allow all family members and strangers who don't know you to identify and go like, wow, that's safe or not safe. We know those people be forthright. You know, we can't come to them with shenanigans. They're going to speak truth into fact or fact into truth. And so it also eliminates the headaches, the people that you know are just not giving you good vibes. They automatically stay away from you because they can identify your sigil and they know, no, that's not where we're going to go. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about, sigils, and the mere fact that if we have another one, a subject class on this, will show you all how to make your own sigil. And when you make your own sigil, this is where you give the energy and the blessings and the love that you want. You have to write an affirmation about your sigil. You know, the things that you want to achieve. Something real simple. You know, like my goal to achieve balance, harmony, um, strength, or whatever it is you're after. You can make it into one sentence, and then I can show you how to go through and move out the vowels and the consonants and come up with your sigil image. And then that's the sigil image you carry on you all the time, whether it's a piece of paper and you have it in your wallet, a pocket, or if it's a henna tattoo or an inking, a temporary inking, or a permanent tattoo, or a piece of jewelry, you are now wearing that sigil. And that sigil literally, it helps you better understand who you are and give off the frequency of no, don't bother me, or yes, come in. And you don't have to say it to anybody because the sigil is the doorway to your spiritual awakening, okay? Your consciousness building. And it allows that vibration that's truly you to maintain the frequency in which it vibrates on without causing you to become ill or have a headache or have a lot of tension or you have to, puff yourself up to address anything. It even helps you when you go to work because you look down at it and you already know what it is you need to do. Any questions?
How important would it be for someone that truly understand about a sigil? How important would it be for them to have that? Because you got some people that take on every emotion frequency that's around them, and then you see them like they're just beat down, they just overwhelmed,
Well,
and then if you converse with them and talk to them,
what happens is that the sigils allow you to know who you really are, and it shuts down unnecessary things. It teaches you how not to. There's a Bible adage, and I'm not sure if I'm going to say it right. It's like, I don't know if they say God or Jesus, you know, um, help me to identify the things that I can change and identify the things that I can't, and give me the wisdom to know the difference. And so it's basically what your sigil does is does the same thing. It says, these are people or circumstances or conditions that will cause me to feel a certain way, emote a certain type of action. But when I look at the sigil will allow me to shut my mouth at this point, speak up when I'm supposed to, but speak it as fact and truth, or know how to sidestep a situation, or go under something, or step over it, or even be absent. If you have to just call off, take that day. What it does is that it forewarns you. It becomes your spidey sense, that primal sense, your gut feeling. We always tell you go by your gut feeling because, good evening, because it doesn't lead you wrong. Your gut feeling is the primal energies, and those are the primal energies in which you're feeling from the cosmos, the cosmic energies of life. And it allows you to know, oh no, this is not a good time for me. This is not a good space for me. And that's even if you're dealing with personal relationships within the family, on your job, your sigil, your totem, okay, your logo allows people to know. And it also allows you to know what you can tolerate, what you can handle, and how to handle it accordingly, and to be able to identify. And then you go like, with me and my daughters, we have a little saying: when life is living us, but we're not living life, which means that if I'm living life, I'm in control. Not control, I'm in balance. Everything's in balance. I know how to handle all of this. When when life is living me, I have to know how to be on that skateboard or on that motorcycle or bicycle and learn how to ride through the rough times. But how do I do that? And so we have, my daughters and I, we have this little saying. Right now I'm living Geb. Geb means that all of the physical things on this planet that can directly impact you, your health, the environment, um, your physical um, assets, your car, your house, stove, refrigerator. When these things break down, you don't go, oh my God, it's just what, you don't start cursing and all of that. You're able to tell yourself, whoa, I had a plan. And that's what happens. The sigil, because you see it, it knows before, it literally helps you understand the cosmic energies that are coming, and you prepare. Okay. Um, in 2018, I bought a lot of survival stuff. Okay. I bought the food, I bought the lanterns, I bought all of that. I bought a lot of it and I shared it with family members. And we have had to use it. And it has been a benefit to us because, as I say, my sigils were giving me the heads up. Look at this. Learn how to now you to go camping. I won't go camping now because of my age. I don't want to live on I don't want to sleep on the ground. But even if I went glamping, I still don't want to do it. But I remember how to build a fire. A lot of people build their fire on top of the ground. There's a system to build the fire in the ground and put the rocks around it, and it heats the ground so that if you're sleeping on the ground, you will be warm. And so these are the things I learned in camping. I also learned how to read maps because when NASA, you had to learn how to read topographical maps. Those are geology maps. You have to be able to know this is a mountain, this is a mound, okay, this is water, okay, this is a waterway, okay, this is a natural bridge. These are this here's a savanna, okay, this is a marshland. You need to be able to do that because sometimes I had to work in places that were kind of remote. And they may give you a map to get there, but you better learn. It's not going to be like I-95. Go over to east on 40. It'll be down, go down this gulch, make a turn over here. And you have to be able to read that. And so what happens is that my sigil allows me to communicate with the the natural energy. Right now, you're communicating with Three Eye Atlas, okay, which is the third interstellar type of object that has come close to the Earth. On the 19th of December, you'll be able to see it visually with your own eyes. Okay. And when energy is coming, when vibrational energy comes in and out of your cosmic um, place, whether it's your solar system, or your universe, or the galaxy, it fluxes them. And the more it fluxes, the faster it fluxes, you feel it. It gives you a moment of unease. Like, I don't know what's happening. I've heard a lot of our people say, man, I don't know what's going on. I can't believe what I hear about Trump. I can't believe what these people are telling me. What is yourself telling you? And you ignore that. A lot of times yourself is telling you this ain't your fight. So step back, relax. But instead, you're going to get swept up in the media of it because you haven't developed a sigil. The sigil allows you to speak to yourself. And yourself is always talking to the cosmos, whether you want to accept it or not. Our planet is in its own galaxy. It is moving like a corkscrew through the galaxy. And the galaxy is flexing like like a stingray wings, okay? It's flexing in the galaxy, but it's also spinning in the galaxy. So all of these things, energies, affect what's going on right here in our solar system, right down to you. And you know for a fact that you may wake up in a bad mood. And by the time you get dressed, get yourself together, and get to the job, you're happy. And you don't even know why your mood has changed. Or you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you don't understand what's going on. Some of us wake up crying, some of us just wake up, because they got to go to the bathroom or whatever. But others wake up with issues. And you don't understand. It's because your body, your cosmic energy is trying to relay a message to you, and you're not picking it up because we have put blinders on, like my glasses. And if I can't see what my glasses magnify for me, then it doesn't exist. And you push it out of your mind. But you
Mm.
can't push it out of your mind because it leaves you unsettled. And then you don't understand why you're unsettled all of the time. But you know that you have to address something because things are not working. Things are not working out. And the irony of it is that the elitists who want to quote unquote rule the world, they go and read the ancient texts from Hamed, texts from Ethiopia, the text from Mali's Songhay. They have gone to the Library of Alexander. They've been in the University of Timbuktu because in order for any society to proliferate or percolate to the top, and for white people and to be in control, you have to go and study the information somebody else gives you. We were writing about math and science. We were doing brain surgery when these people were throwing their body waste out the windows of their homes. Think about that. We delivered babies through C-sections while these people were still living in caves and growing. But because they are the newest person on the block that has used barbarism and all kinds of methods to hurt people, you have dampened your ability to be in touch with yourself. And so the sigil allows you to come back to that. You can look down, just like you look down and go like, man, you like my ZZs? Look down it and go like, oh, that's Kanye West stuff, okay? Or you go over here and I got Michael Kors. You can recognize this stuff right away. It's Michael Kors. And it's important to you. So the sigil allows you to develop your totem, okay, your shield, your armor, so that every time you look at it, you'll be like, back on point. Or even if you touch it, you're like, I'm back on point.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the purpose of it, is to allow you to get back to the point. And you will be amazed as you get back to your point, everything else floats away because your wealth is not monetary. That's financial stability. Your wealth is your health and your connection to the cosmos. That's your wealth. Because that's what you speak to and pass on to your children. Because you may build wealth now and pass it on to your children, but if you don't build a system to pass it on 500 years from now, then by the time you get to the third or fourth generation, there will be no financial gain. Because we may change from paper money to nuts and bolts. At one time, it was just sticks and rocks or quarry shells. Okay. And that depends on what country wants to be the ruler and they decide the value of money. And
Mm.
that's with any conquering society. So what you do is that you build your totem and your sigils to represent the continuity of your family so that every time they touch it, where it's your grandchild, your great grandchild, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, they can feel what you're talking about. It resonates with them and they know that they can move forward with the objective.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So we should so when a person established that they're going to have a sigil and they learn how to write it and learn how to, should they have it around, should they have it like this is their sigil all the time, so they can identify. So when they see it, it can be an identifier, like a logo, like you said, to be
Right.
like,
That's why
okay,
I said you can put it on your body through henna. Henna takes 8 weeks, maybe 3 months to finally come off the skin, but you have it there. And you'll be surprised how you'll look down, even though it's no longer there, you'll be like, oh, you can see it in your mind because you're looking at it all the time.
yeah, you think it's there, but it's not there. Yeah,
Right. And
yeah,
so those are the things that help reinforce what you are about. Okay. The family sigil. Okay. Like we have a family one where we have the letter K and the letter H. They meet each other. And in the top half of the H, we have the S to represent other family members, the stewards. H is for the Horns. Okay, K is for the Kennedys. H is for the Holts. And so you build your sigil. So every time the family sees it, we can identify at least 12 levels of family. The Stewarts, the Horns, the
yeah,
Holts, the Kennedys, the Johnsons. We're able to identify them right away by looking at it. And it helps you because some of them family members that get on your nerve, you be like, girl, I can't mess with that family. So let me look at that sigil, no so and so can't come. Or you could be like, yeah, get grandma so and so over here, or mama so and so. And you will be amazed at what it does for you. It prevents you from having to carry the burden of keeping it in your mind all the time because you can just touch it and it'll automatically send you to that place of memory.
yeah. That's interesting. Well, when you mentioned it to me before, I had never heard of sigil. And I kept trying to understand what you were telling me.
Hmm.
I looked it up, and then I see, all the graphs and symbols, and
Hmm.
and then I start thinking about, when you're dealing with different people and that practice different things, you start seeing like they have a lot of they might have a sigil on them, but I'm looking at them as they're just symbols. But
Right.
that could be a sigil to them
Hmm.
that is that's like you said, it's unique for them. So it's
Right.
not for you to understand their sigil. It's for
Right.
them to really understand their sigil
Hmm.
represents who they are. And you see that definitely when
Hmm.
you can, like I said, interact with people from definitely the Eastern cultures.
Hmm.
We're more of we don't pay your attention to that type of stuff. When you start dealing with like even some natives, I remember was working more towards upstate New York, and we were in like a real rural area. There was a lot of natives up there, Native Americans,
Hmm.
and they had a lot of what we would say now. Now that I know, if they had sigils, they had a lot of symbolic stuff on like their garb and
Hmm.
head like we would call them bandanas. And
Hmm.
you'd be like, this one got it. All of them may have like one or two, then they might have three, then like
Hmm.
two might equal the same as the other two person,
Hmm.
and these are ways that, like you said, to remind people of who they are. And are they should a person or I'm not gonna say should a person. Are they ways to communicate with each other? Like you said with the family sigil that you guys have. So for you, when you see your family communicate, you say the K's, the H, and how it all comes, how it all is in that sigil. Is it a way for you guys, like if you had a family member that you didn't know offhand, but they knew that sigil, they saw you, and you had your sigil displayed, would they know you was family?
Um, yes and no, only in the respect that you develop the sigil and you pass the information on. Um, there are family members that will never receive the information because they are so far removed from you and your current family. Okay. Um, when I first started working for NASA in California, my father had sent me to his first cousin. I thought the first cousin literally was a white man, honestly. Okay. Um, he did not like me. He had never met me. But whatever he was running from made it quite clear that he didn't want any brown people to be recognized in his family. So, with those individuals, they're not going to recognize sigils because the information will not be readily given to them and they're not going to accept it because they're trying to move their life into a whole different ethnic group of people. So they're not interested. They will build their own sigils or their own symbols or whatever that they want to use as identifiers for them and their family.
Yeah.
But for family members that are close and you're passing this information on and you show them and that kind of thing, they'll recognize it. They'll be able to go like, oh, that's so and so. And even when you might start doing genealogy work, your sigil may carry all of the different family last names, the first letters of the last name in your sigil. If you make it like that, then what happens is that whenever family member sees it and they want to go and get this 23andMe chromosome DNA type of stuff, they can look at it and go, oh, we need to look at the Smiths, we need to look at the Lancasters, we need to look at the Vanderbilts, we need to look at you know the Zohalas, we need to look at this over here, and they will start looking in that direction and be able to recognize family members, past, present, and future.
That's got me thinking now. Got me wheels turning, thinking.
Got your wheels turning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So all
Very.
of this is, here's what I want everyone to take away from this is that every single day, the system that we're dealing with, it's using symbols and sigils against you every single day.
Mm,
And they teach you how to have a blind eye to it. But they use it themselves. And that's how they're able to remain in what we consider power. But the power dynamics is shifting because of the 3 AI, because it was predicted 25 years ago there would be a Trump, not Donald Trump. It said a Trump is going to present itself. And we thought it was a Trump like an event or a change, a psychological change or a societal change. We were not looking for a person named Trump. And when
mm,
that person Trump identified himself, we just fell out laughing because uh, we knew 25 years ago this was going to come, the Great Awakening. We knew. And when I say we, there was a core group of us. At that time, we were called conspiracy theorists, but we're not called that anymore because we were able to prove a lot of things that we see now. It was already there in existence then, 25 years ago. But what it did was that it allowed us to see, like the cosmological calendar. There are physical calendars on this planet, okay, outside of Stonehenge. There's the great calendar in Zimbabwe. They call it Adam's calendar, but it's a calendar that allows them to look at the movement of the cosmic stars and planets and the impact it has not only within our galaxy and our solar system, but on the planet and how it affects the people on the planet. So, according to the Bible, Jesus, God flooded the world, okay, but it turned out the flood happened long before any form of um, organized religion came along, and it was known as the Younger Dryas. So during that period, the Earth was still trying to regain itself, balance itself. So a lot of catastrophic things were going on, and the Great Flood, but it did not flood all of the planet. Understand that, because not everybody around the world built boats. Okay, certain areas were greatly flooded, and then people in those areas, large numbers of people lost their lives in those floods, but many people were able to get to much higher ground and survive. But in that survival, it became survival mode. And they basically stepped back in society to almost a primate state of development instead of advanced forms of science, because so many of the learned ones died and you didn't have a way to recapture that information. And so you step back, groups of people step backwards and began to start living a more primitive life. Excuse me. So, but your sigils allow you to have that capability to speak with the universe, to speak with the cosmic energies as it comes past you, because it's vibrating all the time. Your sun vibrates, the planet gives off. Earth has a vibration of 7.82. It's vibrating at that frequency all the time. Okay. So all of your planets have a vibrational frequency. The entire solar system that we're in has a vibration frequency. And our galaxy has the same thing. And so now that galaxy is spinning throughout all of the universe, and it's being impacted by other universes that come next to us. And it affects what goes on in our galaxy, our solar system. And I know I don't want this to be such a far-fetched concept, but it's very simple. It's like water in a bucket. You know, when you fill the bucket halfway and the bucket has a handle and you start swirling the bucket because you're turning, the water splashes around. Finally, it meets what is called its resonant frequency. That resonating frequency is its harmonic balance. So the water doesn't splash out anymore. And it's able to maintain itself, and the bucket no longer feels heavy, it feels lighter. It's the same thing if you're holding your child by their arms and you start twirling them around, you're off balance until you get to your resonating frequency. And then the child doesn't feel heavy anymore, nor do they get dizzy until they stop. Because the minute you put your feet on the ground, the planet is moving at a frequency different than when you turning your child around. That's why when astronauts come back to Earth, they pass out because they haven't been in a gravity environment in a while. And so what you're doing with the bucket of water, or when you're swirling your child around, spinning your child around, you are removing a form of gravity from them. And then when they have to put their feet back on the ground, they're off balance because the planet is moving, people. It's turning. You wouldn't be able to have day or night if it wasn't turning. And that's its vibration. The frequency of how it turns is 23 hours, 40 minutes, and 19 seconds. You get a whole new day. And if you take 52 weeks in a year and divide that by 4, you'll get 13 months. And each month will be 28 days. And that would give you 364 days. So when people are in control, they change the narrative. The mere fact that the system today gives you the Gregorian calendar, okay, instead of the cosmic calendar, you're off. They'll tell you 12 months in a year, it's 13. Instead of paying you, every week for 52 weeks, because people would figure this out, they pay you every 2 weeks for 26 cycles. Twice 26 is 52. And 4 52 is 13. But we knew this long before the Gregorian people, the Greeks, okay? The Greeks who came from the Hittites, long before they even got to understand anything. These are the people who went to Timbuktu, to Male, to Songhay to learn, to learn. We're the ones that gave you longitude and latitude, and that major cities throughout the world sit on what we call dynamic numbers. 11, 22, 33. These are dynamic numbers. And these dynamic numbers vibrate to a certain frequency. St. Louis sits on one. We also sit on 7 rivers. So, huh?
I mean,
Okay, so, and we have the Cahokia Mounds here. We're also the place where most exorcisms are done. And they're done right here in these Catholic churches.
mm,
And the only thing they are exercising are energies in which they've been constantly, the Catholic Church has been constantly trying to control. You can't control energy, vibration, or frequency. You control yourself and how you function within that. Because the minute you try to suppress the natural cosmologic energy, it will harm you. Because I don't have that kind of understanding. Okay.
yeah.
And even if you had all the mathematical logic in the world, you still would not have that type of understand. Because we live under it all the time and our sun is doing a lot of things. We have 2 suns in this solar system, but you only know about one. But now information is coming out and they're telling you that, you know, when the folks went up there on the moon, they found other people living on the moon. And now they're telling you that life is on Mars. But this is what we knew 25, 30 years ago. But we couldn't tell you because the mindset of the masses of people was rooted on religion. And religion is how they have the ability to only allow you to see what they want you to see. But because of the internet and our ability to speak on many things and gather information, stuff is coming out that they can no longer contain or control. And they've always had that ability to say it's mass hysteria. You don't know what's out there. It's not really true. But then when people were able to document it, absolutely document it, then they had to find a different way to do it. And so their biggest tactic is fear. Your sigil allows you to eliminate that fear. What is fear? It's it's creating a false reality. That's what fear does. False energies appearing as real. Fear, FEAR, false energies appearing as real. Fear is your biggest enemy because it makes you doubt everything that's going on. Well, that doesn't make sense. I'm not going to do that. And then you see somebody else similar to you with same dreams, and they're able to get out here and get this, and you're like, "What did I do wrong? What they do? Who they know?" And it's the fact that your fear, okay,
Mhm.
okay, it's the false energies appearing as real,
Mm.
and then you run with that because the system here only wants you to know about gossip. Okay. All, I laugh because all the things you learn in religion, don't lust, what are the seven sins? Gluttony, lust, all of these things. But yet the system that's currently used has embedded it into the process. Remember, we talked about the seven pillars of a society. So they've embedded it in education and all of this. So this here is considered pagan, witchcraft, demon. And I laugh. I want you all to go and look up the origin of the word demon. And it's spelled Daimon. And it means spirit. Your spirit. Nothing bad about it at all. But because of how they have twisted it, remember now, we're the enemy. We have always been the bad people. But yet, when we invent something, you take it from us, you steal it. Tulsa, Oklahoma was not the only place. There was Redwood, there was Lake Lanier, there was Seneca Park, okay, there's East St. Louis. There were tons of places. And the minute we pull ourselves up, quote unquote, by our bootstraps, they would come along with their negative energy and take it from you. So sigils allow you to recapture that and bring yourself to balance. I'm not saying that you won't be fearful or you won't have anxiety, but it won't be appearing as a false reality. You'll be able to look at that and do real risk assessments in your life. Is that too risky for me? Will it harm me physically? Will it harm me economically? Will it create problems within my household? That's what the sigils do. And it allows you to develop those thought patterns, and it becomes autonomous. It's automatic. You won't even have to think about it. Just like you have established your routines for your daily life, you don't have to get up and go, let me look on my list, see what's the first thing I have to do. You now know it's automatic. And the sigil does that for you. It gives you autonomy over yourself and the aspect of yourself that's the true you. Okay. And true you doesn't mean that you don't get angry, you don't pop off or correct people. It just merely means that we're going to try some of the other options first. But if that's the first option I have to get your attention so we can do plan B, that's what you do. Because your sigil tells you, hey, under these circumstances, you got to do it this way. Once you got their attention, then you can try this other step. And it also allows you to have better insight on the adage that there are people who come into your life for a day, for an hour, a day, a month, a year, or a season. And once they're in and gone, it's over. They have served their purpose. They have enlightened you in some kind of way. And I do like this little statement I've seen on TikTok or even on YouTube, where a lot of the white people are asking God, "Where's my patience? Why didn't you give me this? Why didn't you give me that?" Well, here's what I've come to understand. In order for you to have patience, you must have turmoil to know how to get to patience. Okay? If you never have turmoil, you'll never know what patience is. If you've never known love, you can't love someone else, let alone yourself. If you've never driven a car and nobody teaches you, you're never going to drive a car. So when we go get down there and start praying and asking for this, and you're like, man, why didn't they fix it? I prayed to God that I don't have a flat tire today. Well, brother, you knew, or sister, you knew that tire was bald. But your sigil is going to remind you, hey, you got that extra paycheck. Don't go spend it over here. Go get that tire. And that's what you do because you will go, it'll be automatic. You go and get that one tire, and then something going to happen, and you're going to bump over something and be like, man, I'm so glad I got that tire on the front or the tire on the back. I would have had a flat. And that's what the sigil does. It becomes automatic. It allows you to proact instead of react. And that's what the Gregorian system has done. It's been proacting and reacting against everyone. I mean, it's the only people I know that came out of the box fighting everybody. They came out fighting the Hittites, the Romans, the Greeks. Okay, they were fighting the Portuguese. I mean, think about it. Everywhere they've been, it's a fight. Korea, World War One, two. I mean, in America alone, we've been in existence 525 years. 437 of those years, we've had a war on this land. We've had the Revolutionary War, the American War, the Civil War. Okay, we had the French Indian War. We've had wars on this American soil 434 years. For 434 years, we've had war. And you would see a drum corps. That's why you have the color guard in the military. They have the drums, the guys carrying the flags. The flags are their totems, it's their sigils. And you get to know, oh, we're fighting the Americans today. We're fighting the British. We're fighting, the Russians. We're fighting the Germans. And so that's what your sigil does. It becomes an automatic process to allow you to pull yourself back to your center, to your place of balance, and proact on the things you need to get done, whether it's for that day, that week, that month, that year. You will proact instead of react. And
Right.
things that you are not familiar with, you would seek others for the knowledge so that you'll have the ability to proact. Now, it's not going to happen all the time, okay? But it will happen 85 to 90% of the time. And those little 10 to 15% where it's not, it's a minor hiccup. And you'll be able to look at that and go like, whoop, this is my time to rest. Let me just do the work I got to do in front of me. I'm done. I'm a rest. And you don't have to take on anybody else's responsibilities except your own. Or if you're in a core family, just the core family. It also allows you to set up time in which even little children can understand mommy or daddy or both. They when they get home, they need 30 minutes to decompress. I used to teach my daughters that. My husband and I, we taught them as soon as they could start walking and understanding, mommy and daddy needs 30 minutes. And what you do is that you give them things to occupy them for an hour, but you take those 30 minutes. You don't answer any cell phone calls. You don't do anything but decompress for yourself. So your schedules remind you of the things you need to do automatically. And it helps you restructure your life so you can be more in harmony with the changes in the cosmos. Because as that changes, everything down here changes, whether you want to accept that or not. If the sun quit having power to produce energy, we would know it right away. Okay. So I'm telling you what's up there. That's why they have what is above, so below. So the conditions up there in the cosmos, and it's not up, it's off of the planet in the cosmos. Okay. Cosmic energies out there do directly affect us here. And the irony of it is that it affects you even when you are asleep. We end up starting out with good dreams, have bad dreams, or we start out with bad dreams and restless and have great dreams. And so it is affecting you. It affects every hour. Okay. You can get surreal energy, you can get non surreal energy. The surreal energy is when your birth chart and the house, which is your dominant house, align at a certain time. And whatever you're dealing with in that house, your birth chart will tell you how you can address it. Okay. In my birth chart, even though I'm Taurus in my birth chart, Taurus bulls don't look for confrontation. I don't. But if you push me, I will be like a bull in a china shop, and I will be unrelenting. I will be detrimental because I know I've been there. And I've had companies, companies tell me they don't want to deal with me because I was
Mm.
able to take them to court and win, take them to task. And all of us have that. And that's what the sigil does. It also allows me to better deal with the transition of my husband and the transitions of my two brothers, all within the last 8 years. So my sigil allows me to address those things. It doesn't remove grief, but it allows me to have it, to go through it, to accept it. That I don't have their physical presence, but I do have a way to contact them when I need to because their dynamic energy does not die. And the sigils teach you how to talk through those portals. It's amazing how we don't know it and we're the masses of people, but the elite know it and they use it against you. And they tell you that's a boogeyman over there. And these are demons over here. The demon is you, it's your spiritual self. It's in a great place. It's not something they conjure up in your imagination. So
Yes.
if you don't have any questions, I'm going to stop right here. And if we do have a third session, I will show you all how to make your sigil, and then we can move on.
We definitely will. Definitely continue this conversation because I'm quite sure a lot of people did not probably know what a sigil is and probably didn't realize it's it's right in front of us in most cases.
And that
But
includes those hand symbols that you see, those hand gestures that you see. They are not bad. And bafflement is not bad because you don't know what it is. You know, it's the goat that's part man, part goat, part woman. What it's telling you is that when you come to your balanced state, you will be in your Baphomet, that feminine and masculine energy, not gender, but feminine and masculine energy merge together, and they bring you into harmonic balance. That's what Baphomet means. But if you allow the Roman Greco people tell you it's a demon, it's horrible, it's this, it's that, but that's not what it is. Just like the swastika is really a symbol of perpetual love. And everybody around the world understands that except for people in America. Because the system likes to keep you where you are. They need to be able to concentrate your energies to keep our planet moving at a certain frequency that benefits them and not you. And that's a
with
whole nother topic.
that, we're gonna close out for the day, and we'll be back hopefully next Tuesday as we continue our conversation. Tomorrow, me and Professor Dre will be having our every other week conversation about mental health and dealing with mental health in the Black community.
Yeah.
So you guys tune in because one of the things that we don't really, me and Dre didn't really discuss the last time when we did the first show, is it's a lot of mental health facilities throughout the country that have closed down in the last 15, 20 years.
Hmm.
So where are the patients?
They're living on the street as homeless people. That was by
With,
design. Hmm.
with that, we're going to close out. Sister Azima answered the question for me.
Oh,
And
I know. I know. I
you
lost my cousin out there. He
really
came back
understand
from Vietnam, and they put him out there. I
what's
lost
going on with our, let's say, mentally challenged people. And like Sister Azim said, why and where they're at is done purposely, and
him.
how our society is dealing with them now. With that, take care, and we'll see you guys next week.